for the world to see.
At the World Trade Center site in New York City, the nearly 3,000 victims' names were read aloud Thursday. At the Pentagon in Virginia, a memorial service honored the 184 service members and civilians killed. And near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a similar ceremony honored the victims of Flight 93. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 617 points. More at townhall.com.
Guess who's watching Rob Finnerty on Newsmax? President Trump is. He even says Finnerty's show is so terrific. Millions are joining President Trump to watch Finnerty every night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax. All this week, Rob looks at the media's war on President Trump. Rob gives you the facts about the National Guard in cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. He tells you the real truth about the Jeffrey Epstein files, and he reveals the big media's agenda on Trump's health. You need to watch Rob Finnerty on Newsmax. Check out your local cable system. Newsmax is on all major systems. Or download the free Newsmax app. It costs you nothing, and you can watch in minutes. Finnerty is the fastest-growing primetime news show in America. Find out why even President Trump is tuning in. More than 40 million Americans go to Newsmax for news they can trust. Because we are real news for real people.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street rolled to more records after mixed data on the economy submitted expectations for coming cuts to interest rates. The S&P 500 rose 0.8% and set an all-time high for a third straight day. The Dow rallied 1.4%. The NASDAQ composite climbed 0.7%. Treasury yields eased in the bond market following the reports on joblessness and inflation, as traders bet the Federal Reserve will have to cut interest rates for the first time this year at its meeting next week. European stocks rose after the European Central Bank held its main interest rate steady. The Dow up 617 points today, closing at 46,108. The NASDAQ gained 157 to 22,043. The S&P added 55 to 6587. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 62. Tomorrow, look for another beauty. We'll see abundant sunshine to go with a high temperature of 86. For the weekend, it's perfect. It'll be mid-80s as our high temperatures, along with sunshine-filled skies. We have no rain scheduled anytime in the next week. Keep those sprinklers running. Summer's not over just yet. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on this big Thursday night. More importantly than that, it's 9/11, and of course, we never forget. We always remember, understand the solemnness of this day around the country, and always it's just a different day. It's just a different day on 9/11. Yet we are here to talk about sports. It's the second consecutive night we've had to kind of deal with somber conditions in the state and around the country. So our job here is to uplift, if you need uplifting, and to take your mind off of all those other things for a couple of hours as we talk about things in the sports world, primarily, of course, the football scene, which begins tonight, of course, Chris Bergen. It's Packer time here on Sports Talk. America's team will be in action tonight against those invaders from the nation's capital, the Commanders. Green Bay and Washington. And there's an ACC game tonight. You got NC State and Wake Forest getting it on tonight up on Tobacco Road. So football for the weekend is upon us, and a lot of talk coming up about the games we'll be focusing on this weekend. South Carolina Vandy, Clemson and Georgia Tech, Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, and also tonight coming up at about 6:20, we'll have Presbyterian coach Steve Englehart with us as the Blue Hose are off to impressive 2-0 start. They are the de facto September Southern Conference champions, Bergie.
Good for them, too. It has been a long time since PC football was even a subject of discussion on this program, other than what in the world are they doing up in Clinton. But, this is great that they're off to a good start. Looking forward to chatting with Coach. And I've got a stat for you about tonight's game in just a second, but back to September 11th for just a brief moment. You know, we're getting into a situation now where we have a generation of folks who weren't alive when this happened, and we've got one sitting in the studio right next door to you. Josh Cohen was not around. That's how, we're 24, 24 years out?
This is 24 years.
Yeah.
Isn't it it's going to be kind of weird because next year is the 25th. You hate to say anniversary, but it's anniversary. But it's also the 250th anniversary of the country. Mm-hmm. So you got 250 and you got 25 next year. But go ahead.
So it's fascinating to think that there is a group of people now in the United States because, Phil, you and I were well into our broadcast careers. We know exactly where we were at about 8:30 that Tuesday morning back in 2001 when the first plane hit the World Trade Center, and just the world changed immediately. And Josh has now grown up in a world thus far where the only thing he knows is where he was when he heard about COVID. So
that was his big moment.
That was his big moment.
Were you awake during this when you heard about 9/11?
I was in my car driving to Clemson.
I don't mean to make light of it.
I was in my car driving to Clemson. I was in St. Andrews. I was heading up to Clemson for Tommy Bowden's press conference, his Tuesday press conference, and Gary Barbosa on WVOC radio. I heard him say we're getting reports of a small plane crash into one of the World Trade Center towers. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then I flipped over to WBT because they were a CBS affiliate, and they had connected with WCBS in New York. So I was able to listen to WCBS in New York coverage. Of course, they had their choppers up, and they had their people out and about. So, our good friend David Hood from TigerNet was there on 9/11. He was working in New York at a nearby building. And he was headed to the World Trade Center. He is trained. He was telling me this story. He is trained in, I don't know what you call it, emergency care. And he ran over there. He ran into. Wow. He was not a first responder per se, but he told me he ran to the site and was helping to assist people coming out of the buildings. And he got caught up in all
That's incredible.
He got caught up in all the smoke and the fury and everything else. So yeah. So
incredible.
There's all kind of stories out there, of course.
No, there's no doubt.
So
again, good for David.
It's just we don't, because we talk sports and it's supposed to be lighthearted and not important in the big scheme of things, and that's true. They're not important in the big scheme of things. Things like 9/11 are important, but we don't forget what today is as we turn our attention to sports.
But I will say this, Phil. I think that the South Carolina-Mississippi State game the following week in Starkville really started to get us back to some sort of sense of normalcy. And then when President Bush stepped to, the pitching mound at Yankee Stadium, I still get goosebumps thinking about this, and blistered a strike over the heart of the plate. I think there was a signal that, hey, You may have knocked down some buildings, but you're not going to knock down the United States.
No, absolutely,
incredible.
Yeah. I was at that game in Starkville, and that was a weird deal because you had all kinds of security. All of a sudden, now we had to go through these lines. This was the first time we had to go all through these lines, and of course, it was a great showing by both teams with unfurling together the huge American flag that was unfurled during the pregame show there in Starkville. So isn't that interesting that the first sporting event after 9/11 or one of the first sporting events after 9/11 was that, and the first sporting event after COVID was in Darlington.
Yeah.
The races at Darlington.
South Carolina has played a major role in a lot of history in in the United States.
Absolutely. All right, so we're looking forward to the weekend. We're looking forward to our guest tonight. Mike Morgan will join us at 6:35. 7:05, veteran sports writer Bob Gillespie is going to jump on board as he continues, of course, a longtime sports writer with the state newspaper and been away from the state for a number of years. Now writing for the website Straight Up Sports, which, of course, is operated by Mark Sturgis. And we're going to talk about what that is all about and his thoughts on the way things have changed in the world of sports journalism. And, boy, have they changed a lot over the years. Maybe some for the good, some believe. Maybe some for the not-so-good, some believe. And then at 7:30, the M&M boys will be here, Will Merritt and Corey Miller, to break down more of the upcoming games involving South Carolina and Clemson this weekend. So I am rolling. I think I might have mentioned this last night. I'll say it again. I'm rolling with the locals this time. I think we've beat on them enough. I'm looking for wins. I'm looking for, the lines have gone down on both those games. They opened up in the 6s, and now they're like in the 3s. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking, and they're both still favorites. So I think South Carolina is going to play its best game. Thank you. Don't ask me why. It's just sometimes you just have to go with your gut and your experience and your deep knowledge, of which I have all. And so I'm thinking, and it's still Vanderbilt, I'm thinking they're going to win. I think South Carolina's going to probably going to have their best offensive night, probably going to cut Sellers loose, going to get the ball to these wide receivers. Give me South Carolina over Vanderbilt. I'm going to roll with 35, and I still think the Gamecock defense will be, assuming they get some of these guys back, and I think they will. Give me South Carolina 35-21 over Vanderbilt. And give me Clemson at Georgia. Again, I think Clemson's defense is still the real deal. I think they'll hold Georgia. I think they'll hold Georgia Tech to a reasonable amount. I think their offense will get it going. Get the wide receivers more involved. It would help if Antonio Williams is back. And we'll get that first injury report from Clemson tonight. So an available Antonio Williams would help in a lot of ways. I think the defense will keep Georgia Tech somewhat under wraps. So give me Clemson. Give me Clemson in that one by a 35-21 score. All right, so both of them are going to win 35-21. How about that?
I'm like you. I don't know that they're going to be that high scoring of games, but I am going to take I've gone back and forth, and I'm going to take the Gamecocks. I agree. I think they finally put it together and play their best game. And this is I'm putting Clemson on notice. Mm-hmm. This is the last time. If you make me look bad for a third straight time, I'm not picking Clemson the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm 0 for 2 going with the Tigers so far. If they make me look bad this weekend and get beat, I'm not picking them the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So this is it.
Now, I wish I could feel as good about Coastal Carolina for you.
I do too.
I
wish you did.
Crossing my fingers for you guys, hoping for the best, but I got to see some offense. I got to see.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got to see a little bit better quarterback play. And this East Carolina team's not bad.
No, they're very good, and they've got a very solid quarterback, got some really good wide receivers. A guy I'm sure you followed in recruiting, Yannick Smith out of Summerville, is one of their top wide receivers up at East Carolina, and they've got an offense they put up over 400 yards of total offense against NC State this past weekend, albeit against Campbell, over 500 yards in. Their head coach has only been their full-time head coach about 2.5 seasons, and he's already done that 5 times where they've had at least 500 yards of total offense. So it should be fun, though. This is just the second meeting, believe it or not, all-time in football between Coastal and ECU. The only other time they met was in the Birmingham Bowl a couple of seasons ago. So hopefully not only will this be a good game, but maybe a precursor to a more consistent rivalry between the two in football.
That would be a natural rivalry, I would say.
I think so, yeah. And everybody I talked to today, and I made the circuit at East Carolina, boy, they've got a lot of media, and I talked to them all today.
Yeah, all right.
They would like to see it too.
All right, got Coach Englehart coming up after the break. Talk some PC.
I grew up, I want to be a nurse.
I want to be an engineer.
I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
Okay, we are back. We're back on Sports Talk Media Network. A lot of football talk to come.
888-499-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing Friday Night Prime Rib Special. Our great chefs at Flight Deck Restaurant have created a great prime rib dinner special, which includes a 10-ounce slow-roasted certified Angus beef prime rib dinner, served with 2 sides of your choice for only $22.95. And if you mention We Love Flight Deck, you get a free cookie or soft drink with your meal. So come see us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy a delicious slow-roasted prime rib dinner. While you're here, check out the new and improved arcade with over 33 games. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues. Just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Sweet from Sweet Comfort Services HVAC. We're locally owned and operated, which really helps keep pricing reasonable. With lower overhead and more accountability, we stand by the systems we install, our repairs, and our parts. Most nationally owned companies know they have plenty of work this time of year when it's really hot. We'll treat you great no matter what time of year it is. Call Sweet Comfort Services HVAC at 803-331-8143. That's 803-331-8143.
There was a knock on the door around 2 o'clock. 2 uniforms and her heart stopped. Yellow ribbon round an oak tree, blowing in the breeze. Here's to the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones we ain't seen in so long. The hold up a beer was a
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Thanks again to Coach Steve Englehart from Presbyterian joining us tonight. If you miss anything on Sports Talk Live, you can always go back and catch it in podcast form. And we have our podcasts, of course, for you on SoundCloud and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, the whole show, various elements, et cetera, et cetera. So if you miss something, you can go back and catch it that way. We hope you don't miss anything on a given night of Sports Talk. In particular, right now on Thursday nights on Sports Talk, at this particular time slot, we don't ever want you to miss an edition of Mike Morgan and Morgan on the Move, brought to you by Play It Again Sports. In Harbison, Chris Mosley runs the best sporting goods shop in the Palmetto State with all the things you'll want to buy, sell, or trade, best selection, best prices, and a friendly staff. That's Play It Again Sports in Columbia.
Sponsored by Midstate Roofing, South Carolina's leading roofer for over 30 years, protecting what matters most.
All right, time to have Mike Morgan back with us here on Sports Talk. Morgan on the Move. Understand that, Mike, you'll be moving to Columbia for this Saturday night, not permanently. Of course, you could make it a permanent move, Mike, if you wanted to. Just go back and buy your old house.
Yeah, I could certainly consider that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more expensive than when I bought it back in 2001. So,
what would the wife say if you said, "Honey, guess what? We're moving to Columbia"?
I don't know. She's been.
Mm-hmm.
I took her to one of my broadcasts last year.
Mm-hmm.
She enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Showed her Lake Murray and showed her where I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to ask her that.
Yeah.
I hear Korn has an open bedroom in his house, like a guest.
How would you know
he
that?
Could stay there.
How would you know that?
I heard that.
Well,
he listed it on Zillow one time. Just the one.
Yeah,
bedroom.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would put Mrs. Morgan anywhere near the corn. Probably just
You couldn't afford
probably
my
not a good
neighborhood.
policy.
Couldn't afford my neighborhood,
Probably
brother.
not.
Yeah.
Probably
All right,
not.
you're going to be in Columbia calling the Gamecocks and Vandy. So, what are you thinking? I mean, obviously you're neutral calling it, but what are you thinking about how this one's going to play out?
I think it has the potential to be a fourth quarter game. I think what Vanderbilt lacks in big name star power, right? Like for a lot of people, the only name they know is Diego Pavia, and then Eli Stowers is a pro. He's their tight end. He's their best receiver. I don't think most fans could tell you much about their defense or their running back core. But what you have to know is that they are very talented in terms of how they play and how they execute. They've been doing it now under Clark Lee for the last couple of years very well. I mean, I think he's done a great job. I did his first game at Vanderbilt. They played a 1AA opponent and got worked over at home. And you just felt like, oh man, this is going to be a short-lived tenure. But he's really stuck with it. And they got a gift. They got a gift in Diego Pavia, who really, the secret to his success in a lot of ways is a guy by the name of Jerry Kill, who's not even an offensive coordinator, but he's basically the designer of the offense, just as he was as New Mexico State, just as he was as the head coach of Minnesota. Had he not had health problems, you'd know a lot more about Jerry Kill. But he's a really, really good offensive designer, and that was a package deal. Pavia and Kill went over together. And, of course, last year was historic. They beat Alabama. Pavia had over 300 total yards in that game. They scored wins that most people thought they simply would not. And, quite frankly, they didn't lose a ton from that team. And then, from a Carolina standpoint, 17 points on offense the last 4 games, Phil. That's not an average, by the way.
Yeah.
That is like if you and I went back to the Harrah's in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and I went to the roulette table and I bet on 17 4 consecutive times, odds are pretty astronomical that it's going to hit. Well, that's what Carolina's offense has done. That's not good enough.
Looks like Mike just hung up on us.
Did we lose him?
Sure did.
Are we having the phone demons once again?
He dropped some knowledge and he was done.
That was good. I thought he was like, "This is my statement, and I'm leaving."
Mic drop.
4 straight games, 17 points by the offense. I'm out of here.
No, it appears it was on our end, so I'm going to try to call him back and retry this.
See, that just does. Look. How do you? This is my shocked face. This is my shocked look that we're having a phone issue. Good God! I told you to take a hammer to this thing and get me something that works. You know,
you need to pay the phone bill, Corn.
Take it up with the
Sports Talk
landlord.
Media Network needs to pay the phone bill.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the deal is. We'll get Mike back on the line with us here because he was just starting to get on a roll. And one thing about Morgan, he'll not be in a good mood. He doesn't like to be interrupted when he gets on a roll.
Nor should he. By the way, that'll give me a chance to pay off my great stat from earlier in the show.
Okay.
Before we get too far and everybody will forget. Washington, Green Bay tonight. Heard this earlier today. The last Washington quarterback to roll into Lambeau Field and beat the Packers was Jay Schrader back in 1986. So, Corn, you ought to feel pretty good about chances even with J.D. Daniels coming into town tonight.
This is a much improved Commanders team. Let's go back to the Commander who we were talking to before the break. Sorry about that, phone issues. And it cut you off right where you were on a roll. So you were talking about Gamecock offense stuck on 17.
Yeah, I was just talking about the offense. Yeah. You know, it hasn't been humming. I didn't see much of the South Carolina State game. I watched some of it on tape. Quite frankly, I was, in preparation for this game, I was more concerned about the common opponent, what Carolina did against Virginia Tech and what Vanderbilt did against Virginia Tech. And obviously, for Vanderbilt, it was a more dominating win. That's why the point spread went from like 8.5 to 4, which is a major shift in Vegas. So that's a lot of money had to go on Vanderbilt for that to happen. But look, I don't think we've seen the best of this Carolina offense right now. I think that there's too much talent there where they shouldn't be struggling to score the way they have. This is the kind of game I'll be very curious to see if they're able to break out. I think you're going to see more Lenore Sellers runs. I think right now that's the best play in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't want to use it too often, but I think you'll see more of it. I think Rashul Faison eventually will become your leading ball carrier. With all due respect to the others on the roster, I think he's your home run back, and with every week he'll settle in and become more comfortable and acclimated. But I think fans want to see some offensive fireworks. You know, I mean, I think fans want to get a taste of that. Vanderbilt, as good as they are, I wouldn't call it the most imposing defense in the SEC. I mean, Carolina's going to go on a 5-game stretch later this year with the likes of, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, et cetera. And if you can't get more than 17 against Vanderbilt, it's going to be a struggle against a number of teams. So I'd like to see Carolina's offense be a little bit more explosive. And who knows, maybe we have a shootout. I think a lot of people are anticipating a lower scoring game, maybe a little bit of a slugfest, but you never know. I'd love to see both quarterbacks come out, put on a show, and I know the crowd's going to be terrific in Columbia. It's hard to get up for an SC State game, lightning delays or not, but it shouldn't be hard to get up for this one. And the fact that Diego Pavia has been very vocal about his focus on this game will only add a little fuel to the fire.
Are you under orders by your producer and director to fall silent during 2001 and Sandstorm?
We are under no such orders to do any of that. The only time we're under orders to go silent is when the national anthem is playing. And I understand our studio host did an interview with Shane Beamer that'll likely be playing at some point in the pregame show, which begins at 7:15. So yes, there's no other orders to be silent.
All right, let's turn our attention to Clem and Georgia Tech. You're in Atlanta, so you kind of got a feel and a vibe for what the Yellow Jackets are thinking, and I think they're thinking they're pretty confident. And this Clemson team, much like South Carolina, bit of a struggle on the offensive side to open the season. You got to feel like they're going to put it together at some point. It might be this Saturday.
Yeah, I like Clemson in the game. I know Georgia Tech's a popular pick in this one, and Clemson clearly has not played great football through the first 2 weeks. Georgia Tech is I'm a huge Haynes King guy. Haynes King is tremendous, and what a pickup he has been for Georgia Tech from Texas A&M. But I don't know if Georgia Tech has the firepower. And people talk about the game being on the road. Have you been to a game at Georgia Tech? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice environment, but it's not exactly the most intimidating venue that Clemson's going to be at all year. I think Clemson takes care of business, and trying to figure out what Clemson is this year, I don't know. I know there's a lot of highly recruited players and a lot of returning production, but clearly it hasn't showed up just yet. I think a lot of teams, with all due respect to the game last week, you look at what LSU did, and anybody that had a cream puff / Group 5 opponent, there was a lot of sleepwalking in those games. And the margins of victory were not what probably the home fans of those respective teams wanted. But these are the kind of games now that you got everybody's attention. So there's no excuse to not put forth your best effort.
Would you recommend that, I get up early enough to be there in time for the Flo Rida pregame concert? Would you recommend? Is that worth getting up? Would you recommend that?
Is that what they have? Is that what they?
Flo Rida. Some call it Florida.
Flo Rida.
Those of us who know call it Flo Rida.
That's right.
Yeah. I just call him Flo. I just call him Flo.
Yeah. No, I mean Flo brings it.
Yeah.
Flo is If this were 17 years ago, we'd be talking about a chart topper. That's good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, maybe your radio network should use that song, maybe like an intro for you or something. What's the name of that song, Plummer? What is it? It's
Low.
Low. Yeah. What do you think? Low.
I think we'd have to pay for that. I think that's out of our budget.
Oh, you think so, huh? All right, real quick. We got to let you go in 2 minutes because you only gave us, you're limiting us tonight. So, too big besides South Carolina Vandy. We got two juicy SEC games. Let's just talk about one, Florida LSU. If Florida loses, what's it going to be like in Gainesville next week?
I think the Fire Billy chants will be extremely loud. And if that's just if it's a loss. If it's an embarrassing loss or a double-digit loss, and DJ Lagway doesn't look good, and they commit 11 penalties, that's when the big money gets involved, and they say, we demand a change. And that almost happened last year. The buyout is significantly lower. I think that could get ugly in a hurry, depending on how that game goes. And I'm not so sure LSU's not the best team in the SEC. So that is not what the doctor ordered for a team that did not look good at all, particularly on offense against South Florida.
And now South Florida is the national sweetheart, at least for this week, but I think they'll get drilled by Miami this weekend and kind of get back to normal there. Huh?
I don't know. About that. I think USF is pretty legit.
Okay.
I like their quarterback. I love their coach. Alex Golich is going to be courted by some pretty big schools here soon enough. But I'm not saying they win the game, but I'm saying I would not put USF on the schedule. Let me put it to you that way. They get those 2- and 3-star kids out of Florida that nobody wanted that are still pretty damn good. And that was the formula back when it was Jim Leavitt before he went off the deep end. And then for whatever reason, it did not work for a number of coaches, including our buddy Skip Holtz. But that's a job where you can get some talent, and he has, and they're well coached. So we'll see.
Yep. Okay. 15-minute mark has hit. Mike, we thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your return to Columbia. I'm sure you'll be greeted with a lot of open arms.
Yeah, and the plug, which I'm sure you were giving after the interview is over, if you don't have iHeartRadio or TuneIn Radio, you could also go to the website, EliteMediaNetwork.com. But it is a station. It has 24-hour sports talk, and it does have these games. So when the question comes up, where can I hear it? The answer is anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
Give it one more time.
Elite Media Network. You can just put it on your phone, your laptop, whatever. A lot of cars have it now. Every time I go into a car, I just hit iHeart or tune in, and I hit Elite Media Network, and boom, there it is.
Well, we've always thought of you as being elite, so that's a proper place for you.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm elite, but I like to think I'm pretty good at some things, not many.
You're on the Elite Network. You're on the Chief Sports app. You're on Sports Talk. You're everywhere. That's why you're Mike Morgan on the move.
Morgan on the move. I'm gonna move to the self-deprecation network soon. I'll just insult myself for 3.5 hours.
You can move into the Braves manager's office here maybe in a couple more weeks.
It'll be open. It'll be open soon enough. That might not be the only job over there open. That's a whole other can of worms we'll get into next week.
All right, buddy. Have a great one. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it. Take care, guys.
All right, see you. All right, Mike Morgan, back in a moment.
Hi, this is Billy Downer from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Are you looking for a safe place to shoot your rifle or handgun? Did you know that the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources operates 4 manned ranges across the state in Pickens County, Spartanburg County, Richland County, and Charleston County? For more information on our public ranges, visit dnr.sc.gov/shooting.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina, like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day? Teaching a class full of innocent children or driving down some cold interstate? Did you feel good?
All right, thanks to Mike Morgan for being with us here on Sports Talk. Coming up, 7:05, Bob Gillespie. Looking forward to talking to Bob. 7:35, M&M Boys. We'll have some recruiting mixed in there as well. I got to mention this, Bergie. This is the most interesting thing that I read today. Are you ready for this? I want to get your reaction to this. I don't think you've read this. I haven't mentioned this to you. The Big Spur, which I read religiously, John Whittle, those guys do a great job. One of their owners, Tony Morrell, who is an insider type of guy. He likes to write from an insider's perspective. So he wrote this today, and I found this very interesting on a couple of different fronts. Talking about Shane Beamer, and of course, he's getting on Mike Shula and the ineffectiveness of the offense in his 3 games as the offensive coordinator, and talking about this feels like an inflection point for Beamer as a head coach, needs to answer the bell, just saying that he's got to do something about the offense. And so this is what he wrote, and I quote, Beamer addressed the situation this week saying, quote, whatever y'all are feeling right now and whatever the narrative is on the outside, it's not that in here. Our guys are confident and know how close we are. End of the quote of Beamer. Continuing with what Morrell wrote, quoting, this is what he said. That's not entirely accurate, though. Now, first of all, this is me talking. To me, you're calling the head coach a liar. That's not entirely accurate, though. Yeah. Continuing here, quoting, behind the scenes, there's frustration, and some within the program are questioning the direction of the offense and Beamer's willingness to let the offensive line continue to look lost in game situations. Let me read that again. This is what he writes. Some within the program are questioning the direction of the offense and Beamer's willingness to let the offensive line continue to look lost in game situations. And continuing here, I quote, the question now is whether he'll be willing to make a tough coaching and personnel decision if things don't improve. End of the quotes. So what do you I mean, there is a lot to unfold there. What if Shane Beamer reads that? If Shane Beamer reads that, I believe he will. I think he'll explode.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt, and he'll find out. I mean, let's face it, Beamer knows everything that's ever written about his program, whether he reads it directly off the websites or off of social media, or someone tells it to him. Much like Paul Maneri. Paul Maneri read every word that John Whittle wrote about the program at the tail end of last year, and came out and vehemently denied pretty much everything that Whittle wrote in his story. But here, I mean, what would be the end game if you're Shane Beamer? Just let's take the USC side of the coin for a moment. I mean, why would he be beholden to Mike Shula?
Mm-hmm.
If the offense isn't working under him, you got to make a change, because I mean, it's his job that ultimately is on the line, and it's his reputation. That's his program, and if I don't understand why he would be beholden to Mike Shula. I mean, Shula's not. As far as I know, I mean, Shula appears to be a good coach. He's just struggled through 3 ball games. Let's keep that in mind. It's 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's 3 seasons where they have struggled.
What's stunning to me, what's stunning to me here, we're just getting short on time. I wanted to get this out.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, what's stunning to me here, if this is accurate, if you believe this is accurate, is the fact that he's allegedly has informers within the program that are telling him this stuff. When Beamer, I mean, has surrounded himself with what appears to be, great lieutenants all around him, all buying into his program. I can't believe anybody would go outside the chain of command and go outside the cocoon there and let that kind of stuff out in the public.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not somebody employed by Shane Beamer. If he reads this, I'm not sure. He pretty much reads everything. Now, this is brought to his attention. I got to believe he's seething about this.
I would agree.
And if that's accurate, then that's a great concern. Okay, we'll be back. no caps. There are no salary caps, so there is no limit as to what can be created from a deal. I mean, now I know there's the clearinghouse. Okay, now here's the thing that we don't know: how much of this money that has been reported, a $3.5 million deal, how much of that comes from the share, and how much of that's coming from NIL. Anything over $600 has to be approved by the NIL clearinghouse, and it has to be legit. Now, this guy might have a huge social media following, and that kind of money they might see as being legit. If that's what you're basing the NIL on, I don't know. It's way too complicated for me, case by case here to understand what's going on. My point is, if this guy ends up at South Carolina for a visit, and he's already committed to Texas Tech, he's from Georgia country. That was the most shocking thing, that Texas Tech came into Georgia, and of course, there's no guarantee he ends up at Texas Tech, even with this kind of money. And maybe he'll take less to go someplace closer to home. Maybe he has that kind of, he wants to stay closer to home, he'll take less. But again, just going on the outside reporting there, it's hard to fathom South Carolina paying a guy who's not going to, promising a guy that kind of money to come there, to top something like Texas Tech has put on the table.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for just a moment. Let's assume he's getting just horrible advice, and all he's being told is go get the money. Just get as much as you possibly can. It doesn't matter if you're unhappy wherever you go. Just go get as much money as possible. Let's assume for a moment South Carolina says, you know what? We've looked at the numbers. We believe you're worth it. We will offer you $1.5 million to come in. Does he say, all right, that is great? And does he go back to Texas Tech and say, all right, here's what I've got from USC? I mean, how much leverage is he starting, as you pointed out earlier? I mean, is this just a visit to start shopping his tools around, shopping his wares around the country?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I just don't know. So now he's one of like 3 guys who are committed elsewhere who reportedly are visiting South Carolina this weekend, including, of course, the defensive end from Dutch Fork, whose dad works at South Carolina. We don't know the other 2. I don't know that their NIL deals. One's committed to Michigan, and I don't. Their NIL deals have not garnered the national publicity that this particular one has garnered. This one caught my eye because this guy has this reportedly humongous NIL deal, and so we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it, but that's been reported today. On the health front, I talked with Columbia Radio sports personality and a friend of ours, Bill Gunter, former co-host with us on shows in Columbia. Spoke with him today. He was seriously ill, but he's doing much better. He's doing much better.
Great.
And he can publicize whatever he wants to publicize later on. But he hopes to be back at work at his station in Columbia later on this month. So,
super!
That was great to hear that information. El Shorte was my nickname for him because he looms large at 5'7". He looms large because he has a big mouth. He looms large. And I got an update on Coach Toman from his daughter. This week, he began his next round of treatment, which involves participation in a clinical trial at the Duke Cancer Center. He is taking an increased dose of chemotherapy and wearing an Optune device, which delivers tumor-treating electrical fields to slow the growth of cancerous cells, and will potentially receive an immunotherapy drug currently approved for several other types of cancer. Please pray for no or minimal side effects to all the new treatments. And thank you for your continued support. Let's continue to stand by Storm. Man, I tell you, that's you're putting your body through a lot of stuff there.
No doubt.
Because chemotherapy, I mean, that's just pure poison, right? They're basically poisoning the cancer cells. And I feel for Coach Toman and wish him the best as he goes through this, as he battles hard. That's a tough inside pitch he's been thrown there by all that. So we're rooting for him, of course, and we'll keep you up to date on that as information is shared with us from Caroline. We've not hooked up with Bob Gillespie, so we might have to let that slide for the time being. A couple of other things from the NCAA. While a number of schools have been identified in media reporting current ongoing cases talking about sports betting violations.
How about this story?
Current ongoing cases include athletes formerly associated with Eastern Michigan, Temple, Arizona State, New Orleans, North Carolina A&T, and Mississippi Valley. Interesting collection of schools there.
They allegedly not only bet on their team, they also allegedly bet against their team.
They bet against their team?
Yes, according to the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's happening there, and Arizona State, a little bit more high-profile program than the others, if it's happening there, where in the SEC is it happening? Where in the ACC is it happening? Because it has to be.
Yep. I got word today the rosters for the Touchstone Energy Bowl All-Star Game December 13th will be released on September 24th. September 24th for those rosters. I have not seen anything from the Shrine Bowl about any kind of release. They were supposed to pick.
They would have to come out first, right?
Typically they do.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to pick their teams like last weekend from what we understood, but I've seen nothing on their outdated website. I mean, they still got stuff up there from 2023. Nothing on their Facebook, nothing on their website about when they're releasing the information. So I guess it'll happen sooner or later. How about this? The Panthers fired a team employee who made what was considered by them an insensitive post on social media about the murder of Charlie Kirk. The Panthers fired a guy named Charlie Rock, a football communications coordinator. He posted about Kirk's death on his personal Instagram account on Wednesday. So the Panthers then posted this morning that this guy was no longer with them, and his views do not represent the organization. One day young people are going to learn that if you have a boss, that if you work for somebody, you're not free to publicly say or put on social media anything that you want to say.
No. And Phil, it's not just young people. I mean, we've seen over the last 24 hours, older folks lose their jobs or become under scrutiny for just insensitive and ridiculously bad decisions on social media over this situation.
Absolutely. Social media has been the undoing of a lot of people. Let's face it. It's been an undoing of, maybe society as a whole, but individuals who just can't help themselves because they just think they are just bigger than everybody else. They just think they're bigger than everybody else, and their thoughts have to be out there. I have to comment.
Yes.
This is what drives me crazy. People who I respect or used to respect in the sports business. I mean, older, long-time veteran sports reporters have just fallen victim to the same I got to get clicks mindset. I got to get clicks. 18 hours a day. I've got to post something on social media to get clicks, whether it's he's watching an LA Clippers game and there's a rough foul. He's got to comment on that. When I say he, I'm just pointing out in general.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, don't you I don't know. My point is, my way of looking at it is, for social media, my use of social media is strictly for reporting any information that we come across that we think is important to our audience. Mm-hmm. I don't like to get into – I've had Twitter wars in the past years ago, realized you can't win. You can't win if you get in a Twitter war with somebody because they come out of the woodwork. The opposing points of view, they come out of the woodwork. I remember a Carolina football game, a couple 3 years ago. No, longer than that. Maybe it's 4 or 5 years ago. And this was when Will Pelagic was with us. And Will was up at Clemson. And he posted a photo of the crowd at Clemson, and it was a packed house. on a beautiful day. And South Carolina was not playing an SEC team. They didn't have a full house on a beautiful day. And I think I posted a picture and I said, where are the fans? It's a beautiful fall afternoon. Why is the place not packed? Something like that. And, boy, you'd have thought that I would have – I guess Muschamp was the coach at that time. And
Wow.
here's where I realized it's a losing proposition. I was forced to spend half the game defending myself. It took my attention off of what I was trying to do to cover the game because everybody wants to get the last word in a Twitter fight, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
The people fighting with you, they've got something to say. They want to have the last word. Your ego, you got something to say. You want to have the last word. And you just keep going round and round and round and accomplishing nothing except wasting your time and taking your eye off the ball, which happens to be the game that you're covering. So I stay away from that now, That's me personally.
It's so fascinating to me that we're having that discussion on today of all days, because you go back to 2001 on September 11th, our country could not be more unified. Now I'm not sure we've been more divided than we are right now.
Yeah.
And it's juxtaposed between what happened yesterday with the murder of a political commentator in Charlie Kirk, and then today with the remembrance of September 11th. I don't think you could be on opposite ends of the spectrum over two events.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, for a short while there after 9/11, it was a unified country, unified in its hatred for the people that did that and the desire to bring those people to justice, But that eroded quickly enough, because then it became political on how they were handling everything after all that went down. Okay, we'll come back with recruiting in a moment.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports, all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III. Heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, time for recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk, brought to you by good friends over at Seawells. All right, we've had a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday, but they don't compare to a roast beef Friday. Not only is it a roast beef Friday tomorrow at Seawells for the daily luncheon buffet, but the backup crew, the backup menu, the bench warmers are pretty good. You know, it's a complete team effort. The roast beef, of course, that's the star. Those are your starters, but the backups are pretty good too. There, Plummer. Who are the backups behind the roast beef tomorrow?
I'm not sure that we can even call this one a backup. It might be just like might be pretty even on the scale of entrees, but Polish kielbasa with onions and peppers. It sounds pretty good.
Do you know what kielbasa is?
I've had it many times.
Do you know where it comes from?
Poland. At least that's what it says on here. So I'm going to assume Poland.
Okay, you assume that. Go ahead.
Is it wrong?
That's fine. Where else? What else you got?
Baked flounder fillets out of the congaree with 3 eyes and southern fried chicken.
There you go. Fantastic lineup for lunch tomorrow from 11 till 2 at Seawells. Best in the business. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. Great place to sit and relax. They bring you a big old pitcher of iced tea. They take good care of you. Service is great. Service is great for their daily luncheon buffet. The staff does a great job.
They didn't bring me any iced tea. Is it just for you where they bring you the pitcher?
Well, did you drink iced tea?
No, I don't.
Well, then there you go. That's why you didn't get it.
If I ask for an entire pitcher of water, will they bring me that?
They will.
Okay.
And just call them when you got that event that requires the best in catering, 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Checked in last night with a big offensive tackle, Joshua Sam Appel, 6'9", 340.
Good grief.
Take him to the Seawells buffet.
They probably locked the door.
Holy smokes. Out of Douglasville, Georgia. South Carolina offered him in May of 2024. One of the first P4 schools to offer him. They're in prime position to land him over some other big-time programs. He said last night, quote, I'm pretty close. It's a lot of schools in my recruitment right now, but picking out the fake from the real and knowing what I'm going to get out of a program, it's a really big for me right now. I think I've narrowed that list down to the schools that I've been looking at and schools that have been recruiting me. I pretty much know what I want out of this whole process. I've got it down to Tennessee, Georgia, Florida State. He called them Carolina, okay? Carolina.
Oh, boy.
Nebraska and Miami. And from those 6, he told us the top 3, USC, Georgia, and Tennessee. Shane Beamer's on him really hard. Lonnie Teasley's on him really hard. He was at the South Carolina spring game back in April, and last week was his first real game at South Carolina. Clemson has been involved as well. They've not offered. They want to see him play some more games this season, and they want him to come in for a visit. He's thinking about planning to go there for the Florida State game. He was at Georgia week 1. He plans to go to Georgia Tech for the Clemson game, and he plans to go to South Carolina for the Vandy game. He's going to try and do both. He also plans to be at Georgia for Alabama and Texas and Nebraska for Southern Cal, and back at USC for the Alabama game. 27 defensive end Seth Tillman of South Point plans to be at Tennessee Saturday. We talked about 27 defensive end Ladarian Guyton of Savannah planning to be at South Carolina Saturday. He is a Texas Tech commitment. South Carolina commitments, safety Tristan Lewis, tight end Caden Ramsey take their official visits this weekend. 28 receiver Desiree Christian of Greenwood plans to visit South Carolina on Saturday as well. Some of the guys reporting their plans. We'll have a more in-depth list about who'll be at South Carolina tomorrow night in recruiting. M&M Boys coming up after the break.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 62. Tomorrow, look for another beauty. We'll see abundant sunshine to go with a high temperature of 86. For the weekend, it's perfect. It'll be mid-80s as our high temperatures, along with sunshine-filled skies. We have no rain scheduled anytime in the next week. Keep those sprinklers running. Summer's not over just yet. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Get ready, anglers and hunters. September 19th through the 21st, join us for the last cast tent sale at Palmetto State Armory. Land up to 75% off from top brands like Berkeley, Abu Garcia, and Plano. From rods and reels, gun cases to backpacks, we've got everything you need to take on your next adventure. Join us all weekend long for hot deals, pro fishing tips, food trucks, and more. See you September 19th through the 21st at Palmetto State Armory, 3760 Fernandina Road, Columbia.
Service honored the With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The shooter who assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk and then vanished off a roof and into the woods is still at large more than 24 hours later. Federal investigators appealed Thursday for the public's help by releasing a pair of photos of the person believed responsible. Americans have marked 24 years since the September 11, 2001 attacks with solemn ceremonies, volunteer work, and other tributes honoring the victims. At the World Trade Center site in New York City, the nearly 3,000 victims' names were read aloud Thursday. At the Pentagon in Virginia, a memorial service honored the 184 service members and civilians killed, and near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a similar ceremony honored the victims of Flight 93. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Sometimes timing is everything, and I've been talking the talk about Broker Solar for a good minute. I'm a fan. I've had some Point listeners ask me about Broker Solar. They're on the fence because of what's going on in D.C. Now that the politics have settled, we know what's in that big, beautiful bill. We know the federal tax credit for getting solar power at your home. It's going to end in December. So the clock is ticking. You want that 30% federal tax credit, believe me. So we need to get Ken out to your place before they cut it. Plus, you'll still get a 25% tax credit here in South Carolina. So yeah, timing is everything. 30% federal, 25% state credit. Are you kidding me? That's a big part of the cost already knocked out.
To 11. Treat yourself to lunch at Louisiana Purchase and find one-of-a-kind gifts you won't see anywhere else.
Stop by Cypress Market for gourmet meats, cheeses, fine wines, and ready-to-go items.
Give your weddings, graduations, holidays, and office parties Southern flair with our catering and custom charcuterie.
Visit Louisiana Purchase, your taste of the South, all in one stop.
LouisianaPurchase.com.
When I
think of this time of the year, I think of all those F words. You know, fall, football, and floor boys. All are fantastic, maybe even phenomenal. Okay, that sounds like an F word, but it's with a PH. Thing is, this is a fabulous time to visit Floor Boys. Treat yourself to those hardwoods or that luxury vinyl plank. Come visit the showroom. Take a look at floorboys.com or make an appointment. They'll even come visit you. Stop fantasizing and focus. They even have financing. Far out. Visit floorboys.com.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
Hey, I'm Katie Griner. Every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9, we'll be talking about issues that concern seniors and their families. So join us right here on 100.7 The Point Radio for Positive Points on Aging, brought to you by Oakley Village in Lexington.
It's the M&M Boys on Sports Talk with former Clemson offensive lineman Will Merritt and former South Carolina linebacker Corey Miller on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Big Thursday night from Columbia. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen. Time now for M&M Boys. Right now we're hooked up with Will Merritt, former Clemson, All-ACC. That's right, I said it, All-ACC offensive lineman and a one-time ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week. And we are efforting.
I like that ringtone.
Yeah,
that's
we're
nice.
Efforting to get the Pastor of Pain with us, the former Gamecock star linebacker Corey Miller, and he should be with us here momentarily. Let's go ahead and welcome Will. I can't welcome Will. All right, we won't welcome Will to the show right now. Hang on a second, Will. We'll get to you. We are having to work around our phone issue tonight, which seems to be almost a nightly occurrence. And
told you, pay the phone bill.
It's not up to me. My phone bill is paid, brother. It's paid. So while we wait for that, I'll update a couple of other things. Of course, we got NFL football tonight. Good matchup, of course. The Commanders and the Packers. The Packers have never had much success with Deebo Samuel. Just never have had much success with him. When he was with the 49ers, he was a nightmare for the Packers to defend. And now he's with the Commanders, and of course they've got Daniels at quarterback. Should be a great matchup. The Packers played extremely well last week, so as a Packer fan, I'm hoping that carries over to tonight. All right, we got everybody? All right. Thank you for your patience. Will, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
We're great.
Listen, I went ahead and sent y'all a check for your phone bill. So,
thank you, Will. We appreciate that.
Man, we need every penny we can get. All right?
Yeah, all $11 is on the way.
All right. And let's welcome in Corey Miller, the Pastor of Pain. Welcome in, Corey. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Hope you're doing well tonight.
We are.
Beautiful Thursday night for football. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. By the way, Shane Beamer on his call-in show tonight, we should mention, injury-wise, he said everybody is good to go except for Judge Collier, who will not play. So they'll be down their outstanding corner, Judge Collier, against Vanderbilt. He hopes to be able to play by the Missouri game next week. So, Corey, let's start with you. So the Gamecocks are getting some of those people back, almost everybody back. So they'll be pretty healthy in their secondary. How do you like the defensive matchup against this Vanderbilt team and this quarterback?
I think it's going to be a very challenging opportunity for them on Saturday, just because Pavia and just the scheme of this offense, how they spread you out. It's really a different variation of the spread option, and they get you spread out. You go sideline, they get you to the widest side of the field and run the football. Sometimes they run it back into the boundary. But what they've done well up to this point is throwing the football. So you have to defend the run and the spread option, and there go Pavia with a deep ball. So they've done a nice job of plug-and playing guys in the transfer portal, guys that can win one-on-ones on the outside. They can run the football. I mean, they rushed over 200-plus against Virginia Tech. Very dominating second half for them. But South Carolina does match up when it comes to athleticism and speed. They got guys, especially these young linebackers. I really like them a lot. Very immature at this point, but very athletic. And they can run. They're going to have to be good, disciplined. I was just talking to a guy about this tonight. The old school, wishbone and double wing option was hard, but this to me is a little bit harder because of the threat of the passing game. And so you got to be very disciplined. You got to play very well with your eyes. You can't be tricked by your eyes because they'll hit big plays on you. So this is going to be a very challenging game for South Carolina to start the SEC season, but it is at home. It is at night, sandstorm. Going to be an incredible crowd, and I expect them to somehow pull it out in the fourth quarter.
Wow, okay. Clemson defensively kind of faces the same deal with Georgia Tech. Haynes King is an outstanding quarterback as a runner, as a thrower. Georgia Tech likes to do some of the same things that Vanderbilt does. Don't know if they have the high-quality tight end that Vanderbilt has, but they've got some other weapons there on offense. How about this Clemson defense matching up with the Georgia Tech offense?
Well, first of all, I hate going up against Hayes. I think he is a great football player. Mm-hmm. The only thing, I don't know that he's gone up against a defensive front that we have, that we can boast. I think that we can put pressure on him that he has not seen. The only thing that I really have trepidation about this game is the fact that we have not seen him be able to throw down the field, and our secondary is very susceptible right now. I think this is going to be a very tall task.
I think so, too. It's going to be a packed house. They're doing a whiteout, so they're eyeing this game as a kind of a game to validate what they're doing with their program. So I think it's...
I've tried to do a whiteout for the first couple of weeks. I like to erase everything we've done.
Well, let's go to the bad side of things. Corey, the criticism, we're only 2 games into this season, 3 games since Mike Shula took over as the OC and quarterback coach, and the criticism is starting to get louder and louder. I don't know if that's fair to do it, so quickly. This offense has not been productive under him, to say the least. And what do you think they're waiting on? What do you think he's going to do Saturday night?
I don't know. Listen, it takes an offense a while. When you go back and just over the history of football, and you're talking about getting that rhythm, finding that rhythm offensively, it sometimes takes a little bit. And right now they have struggled at times. They've had some situations where guys have had some opportunities to make plays, and they didn't. They showed that in the fourth quarter against Virginia Tech when they needed a big-time drive. Nicholas Harbor comes up with big catches. Lenore's comes up with the big runs. So they got weapons. I think, I think you got to scratch what happened on Saturday night. Listen, if you understand, when you play in a night game, people always loved Monday night when I was in the National Football League because of the national exposure. But I kind of hated it because you had to lay around all day long, right? There's not but so many meetings you can go to, so much film you can watch. Imagine having a late-night game like that, and then you got a weather delay on top of that. So now you got a couple of more hours, and you're sitting there, and you're pumped up and you're ready to go, and you can't go, and you got to try to restart your body, and your body system is different. They got to try to get you back on a feeding schedule to make sure your energy and your carbohydrates. So I would throw out what happened against South Carolina State, because that's not South Carolina football. I think they just try to do enough to win that ball game and try to get out as healthy as they could. But I think this team will be much better. I think you're going to finally see this thing break out. Why? Because you got Pavia and this offense on the other side. You might have to match them point for point. You might have to get into a shootout in that type of game. So I think you're going to see more aggressive play calling. And I think if you see them struggle after this week, Phil, then I think maybe you start to say, okay, something's not right, something's not clicking. But the receivers got to step up. They got to make plays. Tight ends got to make plays. And you got to get this running game going as well. So we'll see. I'm like the fans. I'm waiting to see it kind of evolve and explode, because the first 2 weeks have been nothing to call home to mom about. There's no doubt about that.
You know, it was reported this week that Sellers went to Shula and said, hey, man, I want to carry the football. I want called runs for me like 15 a game. So you think coaches listen to that, and you think we're going to see more of that?
I think you're going to have to see more of that, because really he is our most dynamic runner. He is our most dynamic player with the ball in hand, right? And I know you want to protect him, and I know you want to keep him safe, but if that's what's going to get this offense going, then you got to do it. I mean, you got to say, hey, Lenore, I want you to run the football, but look here. You got to become a smart runner. You can't take these unnecessary hits, right? Sometimes you got to get what you can get and then know when to get down, know when to slide down. And if you got a guy like that, I think you can run him a little bit more. So I do think they listen to him, because you want him. Like they ask him, hey, what plays you like? Well, go in there and tell Mike Shula, hey, I like these plays. Well, I like that play. And so I do think they listen. They got to get this offense going, because now you're talking about 8 straight SEC games. Listen, man, these weeks come fast. They come very fast. You guys know this. They got to get ready to go.
All right, Will, by the way, they're underway. NC State, Wake Forest playing a Thursday night ACC game. Wake took the opening kickoff, 98 yards for a touchdown, so they have the early lead on NC State. By the way, the ACC, their availability reports coming out tonight for the first time. Nothing yet on Clemson, Georgia Tech. Wake Forest had 14 players listed as out. Now, I don't know if that means frontline players, backup players, scout players, but they listed 14 guys as being out for this game against NC State.
It sounds like the bird flu is what it sounds like.
The bird flu? All right, listen, your team's not escaping the scrutiny of the coaches in the stands. I
was waiting for you to throw the first dart.
I've never heard a Clemson crowd boo like I heard last Saturday. And even calling, get him out, take him out, that kind of stuff coming from the stands related to Klubnik and that offense.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. I shouldn't have done that.
Well, it wasn't just you. It wasn't just you. All right, so what about the Clemson offense?
What Clemson offense? Which one are you talking about? I mean, it's been abysmal. I can't wait for what Corey has to say, because he's going to just dag me in the back of the heart. It's been bad. I mean, there's no way to diagnose it in any other way than the fact that we got no push on the offensive line. We're supposed to be veteran. We're not. A veteran offensive line knows how to get to second level. They know how to get to the linebackers. We're not there. Therefore, everybody wants to talk about the running game, but the running game is non-existent when there's no push up front. And so, I mean, if you want to, call it like it is, we've just been really bad. Now, do I think we can get better? Of course I do. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the fact that, gosh, this is a Troy team that we barely beat, that on the way to a national championship year, and beat the crap out of Alabama to win the national title. So there is optimism there. But if you look at what we've done so far, guys, I can't sugarcoat it. It's just been bad. We're not Cade does not see the right read. Everything that you thought we were going to do, well, we have not done. So I'm just going to tell you, it's just been bad all the way around.
All right, so let me ask both of you here as we start to wind down. I'll start with you, Corey.
And I by the way, I just teed up Corey to be able just to knock it out of the park, by the way.
That's why you two make such a great team. You're such a wonderful pair. So here's the question, and here's the question for both of you, and we'll start with you, Corey. This is week 3, game 3 of this season. Is this the weekend South Carolina puts it all together, in your opinion?
I think so. I think, the work from down from the facility, had a great week of practice. Guys are very confident. They're getting guys back. It's been a little bit banged up here and there. So this has to be the week because I don't think the schedule gets any easier for them. So this has to be the week to have that coming out party. Is this a lack of talent? No. They have talent. So something is going on. I don't know if it's the synergy with the offensive coordinator, quarterback, play calling. I don't know. I'm not there at practice, so I can't really say that. As a former player and alumni, yes, I hope this is. But, they got to go out there and do it. And they got to go do it against a team that dominated a team that they had trouble beating on the neutral field. Vanderbilt destroyed them, 30-some points in the second half. Now, I know that you can't compare that. These are two different games, but you see the potential there. So I know South Carolina is a good team, and they don't have to be their best and great yet, but they got to start making strides getting to that point. So I think, to me, this is going to really answer a lot of questions, Phil, about this football team and what's the potential going forward. Is this a true top 10, top 15 team that can win bigger games? It's going to happen down the road, or this is going to be an 8-4, 7-5 type of team. And I think this is going to show up on Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. And I'm not going to even go there, Will. Listen, because I'm fair, bro. South Carolina, if they were doing something and just run up and down the field on people, I would say something, but I can't. So both teams are offenses who got Heisman Trophy hopeful quarterbacks. Neither one of them look like that at all. And so I don't think anybody can say anything about either one of these offenses, to be fair.
Well, each quarterback is ranked 15th in quarterback rating in their respective conferences. So, Will, same question to you. This Saturday in Atlanta, is this when Clemson puts it all together?
Well, they have to. And by the way, let me say, Corey, are we having a hug fest on the air? I'm not sure what's going on right now.
I like it. But if you are, I like it.
Hey, I'm a pastor of a Clemson congregation, bro. I got to be careful.
I feel a little bit. I feel verklempt right now. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling that I have. But to answer your question, Phil, I will say, if Clemson does not show up this week on a game that they have to win, they have to show their dominance because it's interconference play. We know you have to do that. Eventually, you have to say, okay, well, the first 2 games are a fluke, but they're really not a fluke. You were exposed of your weaknesses, and I think this is a game they have to go down there and win. I don't care about the whiteout. I don't care about all the noon kickoff. All that is just BS, in my opinion. You got to go and just line up and run the football. In my opinion, if they don't run for 150, 200 yards, this is a team that cannot win the conference. And I think this is a week. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. This is a week that we have to show up and show if we are really up to the billing of what everybody said.
I agree. All right, guys, got about 15 seconds for each of you. Give me the rivalry meter reading for you, Corey, tonight going into week 3.
Well, I still love South Carolina because I think this offense is going to get better, and I think the defense, they're Johnny on the spot. And but I think what gives South Carolina the edge is special teams. 3 touchdowns already with punt returns is absolutely amazing in the early part of the season. So it's still Beamer ball, even though the offense may not be sparkling. Special teams, they're doing their thing. So I'm going to take South Carolina plus 25.
Ooh. All right. What you got, Will?
Wow. No, I still think we're the better team. There's no doubt. I think we're a better football team. Now, we have a small sample size right now, so we don't know everything. But if you put me, Clemson against South Carolina right now, I say Clemson all the way. I will give us 120,000% we're going to win the game.
All right.
Woo! You better go find you a running back.
I found him. He's right here. He just ran by me. He's at my farm right now.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
He just passed
You go chase him down. Will, you go chase him down. You go chase him down. Thank you, Corey. Pastor of Payne. Thank you. And thank you, Will Merritt, Corey Miller, M&M Boys, with us here on Sports Talk. Great stuff as always. We got to hit the break. We'll be back in a moment. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources, and we're visiting at the brand new DNR offices at the State Farmers Market. Major, tell us more about this place.
That's right, Phil. The Department of Natural Resources has a new office located at the South Carolina Farmers Market. You can find us at 260D Epting Lane inside the Farmers Market grounds. Look for the DNR logo when you turn off of Highway 221 in West Columbia, or you can always go to the App Store on your Apple or Android device and look for Go Outdoors SC. Download the app and you can buy all of your license needs right there.
Visit GoOutdoorsSouthCarolina.com today.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
You work hard for your money. Shouldn't your money work hard for you too? Think about all the hours you've put in, the late nights, the early mornings, the dedication to your craft. Now imagine those dollars doing some of the heavy lifting for a change, growing quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. Whether you're saving for a dream vacation, a new home, or just building a cushion for peace of mind, putting your money to work is one of the smartest moves you can make. Open a certificate at Founders Federal Credit Union and earn more with your savings. For a limited time only, Founders is offering 18-month certificates at 4.32% annual percentage yield and 18-month IRA certificates at 4.58% annual percentage yield. To get started, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend rates or one of our many convenient office locations. All you need is $500 to get started, but don't delay. These rates won't last. Open your certificate today. Your future self will thank you for opening a certificate at Founders. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. $500 minimum balance. 18-month term. Dividends compound quarterly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
She said, give me 6 packs of Brooks and Dunn. If you want a country girl, you just found one. Let's slip away. Yeah, in a Chevrolet. I think I feel in love.
Okay, final minutes tonight on this big Thursday edition of Sports Talk. Thanks to all the guests. The M&M boys were fantastic. And Coach Englehart from PC was super, and Mike Morgan was terrific, and Bob Gillespie was not good. Bob got back to us. He apologized. We'll get him back on with us next week if I forgive him by then. Packers and Commanders tonight. Who you got, Bergie?
I just want Deebo Samuel to have a huge game.
Oh no,
I've got him on my fantasy team, so
that's not
I just if he can score 5 touchdowns tonight, I don't really care who wins. Just
I want the
have
Packers
a big game,
to win.
Deebo.
Say what?
I want the Packers to win.
There you go, boy. There you
Would
go.
you like to know why?
I knew you'd come over to the good
There's
side.
got to be a devious reason.
Well, the
reason
Commanders
why.
killed all my hopes and dreams last year, so.
You want payback?
Yeah.
You want payback?
Well, I'd rather have the NFC North win it than anybody else.
Wake Forest up 14-0 on NC State. Opening kickoff return, and now a 93-yard scoring drive led by former Gamecock
Robbie
quarterback
Ashford.
Robbie
Yeah.
Ashford. How about that?
Hey, you don't just roll into Winston-Salem on a Thursday night and beat the Demon Deacs.
As Tommy Bowden.
Yeah, good point.
That was like his last stand. All right, that'll do it. Great night. See you tomorrow.